The annual flood outlook, which was unveiled in March 2022 by the Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency, predicted that 233 local government areas in 32 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory fell within the highly probable flood risk areas, while 212 local government areas in 35 states, including the Federal Capital Territory, fell within the moderately probable flood risk areas. It's indicated that the highly probable flood risk states were Adamawa, Abia, Akwa Ibom, Anambra, Bauchi, Bayelsa, Benue, Cross River, Delta, Ebonyi, Ekiti, Edo, Gombe, Imo, Jigawa, and Kaduna states, while others were Kano, Kebbi, Kogi, Kwara, Lagos, Nasarawa, Niger, Ogun, Ondo, Osun, Oyo, Rivers, Sokoto, Taraba, and Yobe, not forgetting the Federal Capital Territory.
What should Nigerians be doing as we edge closer to the peak of the flooding season, as predicted by experts?
Well, that is a big question tonight, Christian. And of course, let's have this conversation with the Director General, the Federal Capital Territory Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, Abbas Idris. Well, he joins us now on the program. Well, Idris, thank you so much for being here. And the issue is, you know, after 2012, after Nigeria saw the loss of over 400 lives, one would have thought that would have picked up a lesson or two, looking at the fact that the effects of climate change, they're not abating anytime soon. We have to be proactive. Yeah. And aside from that, despite all of the warnings every year from NIMET to the Hydrological Agency that predicts all of this rainfall that could lead to flooding, this year alone, NIMET, I remember back in February, had released its own warning that gave us, you know, 19 states to look out for. Here we are again. Flooding is still a challenge. And from reports that we have garnered, about 70 lives have been lost this year alone to flooding. Why are we not being proactive enough to forestall this loss of lives and properties?
Thank you very much. Let me join you in really appreciating those two agencies for giving us the early warning promptly and as at when due. And they don't even stop there, like NIMET is giving us 96 hours early warning every week, 96 hours. And that is very encouraging because it's an innovation that has never happened in the industry. So, and they have given the warning. NIMET has released the rainfall prediction, and they are still giving the 96 hours prediction. And also, NISA in May had released the outlook of the flooding in the whole entire country. Now it is now for the states and local governments, just as in your intro, that is now their own responsibility to start, because fighting disaster is a bottom up, because it happens at a local level. And those localities, those local people are the first people, that is the local government, supposed to start acting before the state. And so all the local governments supposed to have local emergency management committee by law, and then the state supposed to have functional state emergency management agency, just like our own, the FCT emergency management agency. And then that is how it will be from the local government to the state government and finally to NEMA, because NEMA is the last resort at the national level, except if it is so massive that is beyond the containment of the nation. Then they will now seek the president to declare state of emergency so that the other countries can bring in their support. But if you look at it, the way we are handling disasters in this country, the local government doesn't know what is happening. The state government doesn't, some of the state government doesn't know even a functional, they don't have functional state emergency management agency. Where they have, they don't have even the staff that can be able to work. If where they have the staff are not trained in how to handle really the
tools. They don't have the equipment.
So there is no issue of tools, because you need to get people that knows what they are doing first, then they will request for the tools. You as a journalist, you know what you need to make your job easier. So in most states, they just created the state emergency management agencies. They made them redundant. They are not doing anything. So they were not trained. So they would not be able to handle that. And flood has come to stay. This is the issue. It has come to stay because of the climate change.
Absolutely. Abbas, I mean, this is a very damning submission that you've made about local governments in Nigeria not even being proactive. Because when you look at this flood terrain now, you find that it's the local people that are first
Yes,
hit,
most
and
effectively.
they are killed and property
That is why I say it is a
destruction.
bottom-up
Even in the
structure.
Federal Capital Territory here, the infrastructural development
Yeah.
to check floods,
Yeah.
whether in Kubwa, whether in Life Camp, where the minister lives, or in Lokogoma, it's zero. It's shambles.
No.
And that keeps a lot of pressure on you.
No. You will not compare that with the FCT, because FCT we have structure. We have all the local emergency management committees in place in all the 6 area councils. Apart from that, we have local divers
Having them
who are
in
trained.
place is one thing, but having them being proactive.
They are
to
very
forestall this.
proactive.
No, I would actually disagree with you there. Because if you look at Lokogoma, which Christian has
I was
actually
just going to go on to
when
Lokogoma.
it rains heavily, motorists really cannot
You see,
fly
when we are
that
talking
road.
of places, you don't bring Lokogoma.
Is it not
There
part
is
of the
no,
FCT?
there is no engineering infrastructure place
But
in
that's
Lokogoma.
what I started
And
with.
No, but
Abbas,
it is,
that's
the
what I
issue is-
started
The
with.
issue is that people just went to Lokogoma and started building indiscriminately.
Who gave
no
them the-
approval.
who gave
no
them the
approval.
approval?
No approval. No approval.
With the
You can
massive
quote me, I'm
estates in
talking
Lokogoma?
on international television. No approval. Lokogoma, that is why they don't have engineering infrastructure. And that is why today people are saying you don't allocate lands, because there is no district that has been provided with engineering infrastructure. They don't just, minister cannot just allocate land to you where there is no drainages, no good roads, no pipe bomb water, nothing. So you now go and build on waterways. You go and build
What
on
is
flood
development control looking at? The director is a friend of the house. Why is he hands akimbo?
The director is approving based on engineering facilities. He cannot approve any
And the
building.
ones that are not approved, why are they still standing?
They are going down. If
Wow.
you look at it, every day
So you're
there
saying
is
the entire
demolition.
Lokogoma is illegal,
It's
going by your
illegal-
submission.
it's
This is
illegal.
quite damning, but of course we have to see
And
the
even
right
today, we
Uh-huh.
were there because we had to be there because we know it is a critical area. Once there is rain prediction, we are there. And if you get by, you go and check where the
flood plains.
IPN5 junction, where they put container as a. We were there, and we were also at Dogongada. In fact, we had to build
What
and
have
barricade
you
the
done? What have you done? You say, okay, now you've actually raised this issue, the fact that despite all of this warning, some of these locations beyond the FCT, they don't write the right infrastructure, be it engineering infrastructure and all of that, to ensure that we forestall this flooding before it happens.
Yes.
So right now, we are in this quagmire thanks to climate change.
Yeah.
So how do we get it right moving forward? So that way we're not losing lives and properties every day.
Thank God this year, because of the measures being taken, we have not lost any life in the FCT, and we are making everything possible not to lose any life and property. The Honorable Minister has given us the political will to remove any infrastructure that is blocking the water from flowing. That has been going on.
Have you and other, similar agencies have been the Gwagwalada canal or bridge or river?
In fact, there is a strategic team committee which is managing and controlling flood in the FCT now, which made up all the strategic stakeholders, both within and outside the FCT, who are working tirelessly to ensure that nothing happened like the previous years. And in every morning, as we get the warning from NIMED, we put ourselves into task. We were going around, you see that everybody is not sleeping, going around to ensure that nothing happened. And our rescue team are also on alert 24/7. 24/7 they are on alert. And like I told you, we have devised means, we have incorporated the local divers, who are also the first responders, because if there is anything at Kwali, before I get to Kwali, at least somebody must
the local people.
So the local divers will be there, and we have trained
so as we
them
wrap up
on
this
modern.
conversation, unfortunately, flooding leads to food insecurity, which, of course, if you go by the United Nations, it says we here in Nigeria, we're at risk of that.
Yeah.
So here in the FCT, which is your purview, we're not going to ask you about other states, but which is your area, how are you helping those who are affected by flooding to ensure that they don't stay hungry?
And that is exactly why we have the strategic team involving both agric and non-agric. And then we are making sure that also that, when there is flooding, either way, If there is too much water, it will wash away the land, and if there is fewer water, you will have also famine. So both ways you are affected. So in these two categories, we are also working. If there is too much that wash away the land, we have alternative for the farmers. And then if there is also no rainfall, we also have alternative for the farmer. We must get to stock food for in a reserve.
It's very important because if you look at the reports now, Save the Children says about 75,000 children are at risk of hunger in Nigeria if we don't do something today.
All this I've been
We have to say thank you so much for joining us tonight on the program. Of course, the FCT Director General of the Emergency Management Agency, Abbas Idris. Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.